Hey everybody, welcome to Chapter 9. Good old Chapter 9 starting up. We're going to get going here on samples and surveys. We're going to look at a couple of different things today. So I hope you're ready to go. Buckle up. Let's go. Oh, look at that, lucky you. You don't have any warm-ups today. You can thank me later. I know. Go ahead. Well, you know what? Thank me now. Tell me right now. Say thank you, Mr. Sheeman. Oh, I love to hear that. All right, here we go. So today we are going to be learning to identify sampling methods and recognizing biased samples. Biased samples. That might be, man, I tell you what, that should be a vocab word. Oh, maybe it is. All right, so there's a couple things I want you to write down. Population, sample, and random sample right now. So please pause the video and write these down. And go. All right, so population. Population is the entire group being surveyed. So when you look for, or being studied, not surveyed, when you look at the population, if I said I wanted to find the favorite movies of all 7th graders, you would survey all 7th graders, all right? That's the entire group being surveyed. Now, sample, what a sample is, it is part of the population being surveyed. So instead of going around Minnesota, going to every middle school and asking every single 7th grader and saying, what is your favorite movie? I mean, because who doesn't want to do that, right? Okay, and looking at that, instead of doing that, I can take a sample size. For instance, another way to look at it, when you go to Sam's Club on a Saturday or a Sunday, because they have these wonderful samples. And instead of going and buying this gigantic pizza, you get a little sample of the pizza. And it's free. They're great. Okay? The last thing is a random sample. And the random sample is each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. This is the best sampling method. If it is a random sample, it is the best type of a sample method. Now, there are other types of sampling method, which you will see on the next slide. And here they are. There's random, systematic, stratified, convenience, and voluntary. So I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to write this down. All right, so looking at a random sample, if somebody is randomly selected, that's like going into... for instance, we pile all of the pioneers into the high school or into the gym. And we just randomly pluck one person out of the stands. Okay? That is a random sample. Everybody has the same chance of being sampled, or everybody has the same chance of being plucked, but we randomly select one. Now, systematic would be something like if I were to say, I am going to use everybody with the last name that starts with S. Okay, that's systematic. It's a rule. It's a formula. Everybody whose last names start with an S has the chance of being selected. Now, the other people that do not have the last name of S, so that would include A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I got it without the S. All of those last ones would be okay. Stratified. A stratified is a at random from randomly chosen groups. So if you ever go to like a baseball game or a hockey game or a soccer game, basketball game, they always pick one person out of the stands and they say, you have been selected to pick so-and-so. Okay, and they say, if you are seated in in section 220, if you're in row 4 and you're in seat 3, that is a stratified type of a sampling. You're in a certain section, you're in a certain row, you're in a certain seat. Okay, I'm going to pick somebody at random out of a 220 section. I'm going to pick somebody random out of the 3rd row. That's randomly chosen from those subgroups, and those subgroups would be your row, your section, so on and so forth. Convenience is your easiest to reach. So let's go back to sampling all of the 7th graders for their favorite movie. instead of me going around to every school in Minnesota and sampling all of the 7th graders, I'm going to sample the 7th graders here. Why? It's easy. It would be easy for me. I could just ask the 7th graders in my class, hey, what's your favorite movie? Hey, what's your favorite movie? It's easy for me. All right? Voluntary. Voluntary is the members choose to be in the sample. When you get a cell phone, or if you have already gotten a cell phone, you may have gotten this before, where the phone company calls you up and they say, hello, can I speak to so-and-so? And you're like, yeah, this is so-and-so. And you're like, hello, you've been selected to be part of a survey. Would you like to voluntarily choose to be part of the survey? And you can say yes or no. Normally, I say, no, I got other stuff to do. Thank you for the call. Have a great day. Because you always have to end polite. And they're like, okay, you have a great day too. Good job, Mr. Sheeman. Thank you. Okay, so when I look at this, that's a voluntary setup, a voluntary sample. All right? All right. Whew, that was a lot of words. All right. Identifying the best sample method. Notice no yellow bar, you don't have to write down. And again, you are welcome. It says, in a county survey, Democratic Party members whose names begin with the letter D are chosen. So as I look at this, what type of method is this going to be? This is the systematic sampling method. And the reason why it is systematic is because they have a formula. There's a rule. Letter D are chosen. It's not a random, okay? It's not randomly chosen at all. It's all systematic. All right? Next one. A telephone company randomly chooses customers to survey about its service. Randomly, that gives you a little hint. What sampling method do you think corresponds with randomly chosen? Random. Yeah, absolutely. Random. That is a random method right there. Random method is the best type of method. Sampling method. Again, you do not have to write this down. You're going to have the next one to write down, but I want you to get into the habit of looking at these problems. It says, a high school randomly chooses 3 classes from each grade and then draws 3 random names from each class to a poll about lunch menus. So you see those words random. It's randomly chooses 3 classes, then random names from each class. So there's 2 things here. First, it's a randomly chosen group. Then it's a randomly chosen name. When you break it up into different subgroups, ooh, that word subgroups, this is a stratified because I broke it up and then I broke it up again. I didn't randomly choose everybody in the sample. I just randomly chose somebody inside my random class. All right. Next, it says, in a county, families with 3 or more children are chosen. What type of method is this? Well, 3 or more children, that sounds like a rule. If you don't have 3 or more children, you are out the window. You're thrown out of this survey. So this is a systematic. Systematic. Automatic. Na-na-na-na. I'm done. All right, here we go. Identify the sampling method used. Look at this. Look at this. On this rainy day, there is a beautiful yellow bar, which is the sunshine to your day. So you're welcome. You can write this down. Not just you can, you have to. I know. Oh, I shouldn't even say you have to. You get to. It's just a happy day. All right. Pause the video and write it down. All right, so this first one, it says a retail home improvement store randomly selects customers to take a survey about their shopping experience, okay? They are randomly selecting somebody. So this right here is a random sample. Now, if you wrote voluntary, okay, I probably would accept voluntary because a lot of times when you go into a store, let's say you stop at McDonald's on the way home. That's not a store, it's a fast food restaurant, but whatever. Okay, a lot of times on the back side or at the bottom of their receipt, it says, please call in to survey your meal and tell us how your meal is. And if you do it, you get a certain sandwich for free. Okay, and many times you take that little receipt, you crumple it up, throw it in the trash, okay, or the recycling bin. You feel like it's voluntary. I could see it as voluntary as well, but random, this random also means random sample. All right, next it says at a basketball game, 5 sections are chosen at random. 20 people from each section are randomly pulled. Well, we are randomly choosing from random subgroups. Randomly choosing from a random subgroup, so this is stratified. Stratified. Awesome. All right. Here we go. So a biased sample. Okay, please pause the video right now and write down what a biased sample is. A biased sample does not accurately represent the population. And the reason why a biased sample does not, if somebody is biased for something, that means they are either for or against it. For instance, if I asked a basketball player, what's their favorite sport in the winter? Well, they would say basketball. Why? Because they're a basketball player. Okay? Now, if I ask the entire basketball team, what's the best sport in the winter, and I'm looking for a sample size for the entire school, they're going to all be biased towards basketball. Why? Because they play basketball. If you look at judges in a courtroom, they cannot have any bias. Okay? Because if they have any bias, then they're going to rule unfairly towards something. All right? So a biased sample does not accurately represent the population. All right. Another example. Let's say we have a deer. There's my deer. Okay. So as I look at this, I'm sampling this deer, and I want to figure out the average life expectancy of this deer. However, an average normal life expectancy of this deer. However, I pull only the sick deer. That's not nice. So instead of this being a smiley face, he's now a sad face because he's sick. Okay, so if I pull just the sick deer, do you think the average life expectancy is fairly judged by if I just sample sick deer? No, because that's just sick deer. They're not going to live as long. Okay, so a biased sample does not accurately represent the population. Now, if I look at this problem, it says, identify the population in the sample. Then we are going to give a reason why the sample could be biased. Not that it is biased, but how it could be. So there might be multiple answers. All right, so as I look at this, it says, a record store manager asks customers A record store manager asks customers who make a purchase how many hours of music they listen to each day. So he's sampling people. The entire population, out of this entire population, who has the possibility of being sampled? Well, anybody who walks through this store. So a record store customer. A record store customer has a possibility of being sampled. However, the sample is only out of a certain customer. What is that certain customer? Well, it's the people who make purchases. That's my sample. Okay, so the entire population is all record store customers. Okay, then the customers who make a purchase are the people that the store owner or the store manager are actually sampling. Now, where this could be biased, okay, where this might give you not the correct answer, because the answer is how many music or hours of music they listen to each day. What happens if you have a person who loves music? Well, they might buy a CD. What if you happen to have a person who doesn't like music? Could they buy a CD? Yeah, they could still buy a CD, but they might not listen to it as much. So if you look at a person who makes a purchase, they might be more interested in music than others. They might listen to music longer. Customers who make a purchase might listen to music longer. All right. Now that's not saying that somebody who doesn't pick up a CD might not listen to music very long. That's not saying that, but just saying that it could be possible bias there. All right. All right. It appears that Mr. Sheeman made a mistake. Oh, goodness. So lucky you. You do not have to write this down. Don't worry about it. Even though it says a yellow bar, just follow along. And this will be the last slide of the day. So I made a mistake. My bad. All right. It says, people attending a baseball game were asked if they support the construction of a new stadium in the city. All right. So we are looking for, the question would look for the population, the sample, and possible bias. All right. The population, again, when you look at the population, you are looking for everybody who has the chance, the entire group that's being studied. So if there's a new city or stadium going up, all city residents are going to be studied. All of them are going to be studied. However, the sample of this is going to be just the people attending the game. Okay? It's just the people attending a baseball game. All right? Nobody else, just the people attending the baseball game. Where your bias comes in place is these people might be biased because, well, if you're looking for a new stadium and you're asking people who go to baseball games to the new stadium, do you think they want one? Yeah. People that attend the baseball game are probably going to give you more support for a new stadium because they want the new stadium, right? So that bias, again, is not an accurate representation of the population, but it does happen. All right? Okay. That's all I have for you today. Lucky you, you got out of one note for the day. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. I will talk to you later. Bye.